Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube video about the Consumer Price Index report for January of 2023. The report was released this morning by the Labor Department, so let's get right into it. On Tuesday, the Labor Department reported that the Consumer Price Index, which measures a broad basket of common goods and services, had an increase of 0.5% in January, which is an annual gain of 6.4%. Economists had sent forecasts of respective increases of 0.4% and 6.2%. So, where was this increase coming from? Rising shelter costs accounted for almost half of the monthly increase. This component alone is responsible for more than 1/3 of the index, and had a monthly increase of 0.7% and an annual increase of 7.9%. Also, energy costs increased 2% from month to month, and 8.7% from a year ago. Additionally, food costs rose 0.5% in January and 10.1% from a year ago. Given the steady increase in prices, the average hourly wages for the average worker took a hit. It was reported that wages fell 0.2% for the month and 1.8% in a year compared to the same time period. With all of these changes, the Federal Reserve began a course of action to try and keep inflation and price hikes at bay. The Federal Reserve has raised its benchmark interest rate 8 times since March of 2022, as inflation had risen to its highest level in 41 years last summer. Some more good news in the report: medical care services and airline fares both saw decreases, with medical care falling 0.7% and airline fares falling 2.1%. And sadly, egg prices rose 8.5% and are up a staggering 70.1% in the past year. In the effort to understand the current economic environment, the Fed has looked closely at a measure known as supercore inflation, which is the core services inflation minus shelter prices. This number rose 0.2% in January and was up 4% from a year ago. The markets expect the Fed over its next 2 meetings in March and May to raise its overnight borrowing rate another half of a percentage point from its current target range of 4.5 to 4.75. How the Fed proceeds in their current course of action will depend highly on how the economy responds to the policy tightening and whether inflation drops back in line or not. In the preview Wednesday morning, many economists surveyed by Dow Jones expect that the retail sales figures, which is not adjusted for inflation, will show sales rising 1.9% in January based on recent data. The New York Fed Barometer, which uses the spread between 3-month and 10-year Treasury yields to estimate the probability of a recession, puts the chance of a recession in the next 12 months at the highest point since the early 1980s. We will have to wait and see how the upcoming retail sales numbers respond, but one thing is certain: the Fed has a lot more work to do to address inflation and get back to the normal range of 2% inflation. Thank you for watching and tune in next week for more insight into inflation and what the Federal Reserve will do in response.